Well, this is it, folks. It's Friday. It is fun time, and I am live. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Friday Fun Day Live. I'm Rob Appell, right here on YouTube, promoting all of my wonderful time and friends out at Stitchin Heaven, Quitman, Texas. I'm a quilt maker out there for anyone who is just now joining into the show or having fun meeting us at our channel, getting to know us here a little bit. Sorry, my lines aren't perfect as I'm getting ready. I'm a little hoarse. I've been out teaching on the road for the last 10 days straight. Super excited. And of course, I was laughing and carrying on, being as loud as I possibly could the last several days. So we're going to talk a lot about that. I'm really excited. Those of you who are just joining us, welcome, welcome. We have 76,000. I think it might actually be 77 now. Golly, I can't even keep up, which is incredible, folks. Numbers are growing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Make sure you touch the bell to be notified when we go live, and that's Friday afternoons, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I was just there, it feels like yesterday, because I was in Eastern time yesterday, which is kind of wild. And I love time travel, although I did get home quite late last night. Or this morning, if you will. It was fantastic. So it's been a great trip. We're going to get ready to do our Scrap Masters for the week. If you haven't been here in a couple weeks, we've changed up our format a little bit. I can see all of the folks joining in. That's awesome. And if you look over here on the side wall, you can see we've got the quilt up. I see my camera got a little out of adjustment. Maybe not. No. So I've got the blocks from the last several weeks going on up there. Again, still no real formula or format, just having a good time with that. So if you haven't seen the last couple of weeks, what I like to do now is I'm going to roll and spin first in today's video. Then I can start building my block and bring you all back together as I finish. So with no further ado, then let's go ahead and get ready for our Scrap Masters of the Week. We're on week 17. If you haven't started participating yet, there is a link in the description, pattern and all of that, and there is no starting or ending point necessarily, so make sure you just enjoy sewing along with us on our little sew along. Okay, so the first thing we do is we roll the big six-sided die to figure out which of the free pattern blocks we're going to use here. So here we go. I'm pretty excited. Oh, let's go to the overhead camera for this. This is always fun. Here we go, folks. Here we go. All right, block number one it is. Block number one this week. Oh my goodness, look at all those half square triangles again. Okay, so we're going to do block number one. What color were we doing? Spinning the random color selector. Oh, blue-green. Feeling good about the blue-green, that's for sure. Okay, so block one in the blue-green family. So that's going to be nice because I can just use a lot of this section right here. Oh, switch my camera. Switch my camera, I said. Please. There we go. We can go ahead and use a bunch of this section as we build there. Okay, now what number, how many fabrics do we get to use? This is the big thing. We want a big number, folks. Big number, no whammies. Big number, no whammies. Blue, green, blue, green. Here we go. 8. You know what? I'll accept it. 8 is our fabric choices. Let's talk about this a little bit before we dive right in. As we look over here on the wall, some of these blocks way up here only had 5, and some of these had like 16 and 20. So 8's going to be okay. I'm going to still divide it up amongst the parts and pieces as I get going. So let's go ahead now and talk about what we're going to do with our Scrap Masters. Okay, so I only get 8 fabrics this week, and if you can see in my block, I've got a lot of half square triangles to make, and I think what I'm going to pretty much do is match up my blue greens. Yeah, I don't want it to be too monochromatic. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the ones out of our blue-green family. So I'm going to have 1, 2, and this is 3, although it's variegated, so I'm going to be able to use this. Those 3 there. I'm going to pop in some bright green for fun, okay? So now that's going to make that happen. That's 4. And I think to set these off this week, we're going to use some turquoises. So there's 5. And 6, I don't like that. I don't like that either. We're getting limited on some of our scraps as well. 5 and 6. Oh, I sure like the way that's going to look. I don't have a lot of those, but I do like the oranges. But I think I'm going to want some of my peaches as well. So it's feeling pretty strong in there. What can I do to tone this? Oh, that could do some nice stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what else am I going to pull from my number 8 out of there? Nope, too dark. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure, so we're going to keep working through our fabrics a little bit. Sometimes I get a little stumped on these, and it might be this that's doing it to me. What if I pulled out that, brought in... Oh, okay. I'm going to like this better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe this will lighten it up. Yeah, okay. This is going to be fun now. Okay, we got it. We got it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, those are my fabric choices. I've got my 8. I've got a little announcements and recap video with the grateful list and everything as I dive into my Scrap Masters Block 1 prep work. I'm going to go ahead and let you all check out what's been going on with this last week. Check out what happened at the sewcation, and I will see you all in a few moments with my sewing started at least. Okay, enjoy. And that is right, folks. It is announcements time while Rob works on his Scrap Masters of the Week. This is super exciting and fun to be doing. So again, I'm really excited that you are all here and joining along. Don't forget, we do have links in the description for all of the different things we're talking about, including the Scrap Masters pattern and a link to the Facebook group as well. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions on anything you see in today's show, rob@stitchinheaven.com. And don't be too concerned if you hear me being hoarse. I've had an incredibly great week teaching and traveling. It was actually almost 10 days, but boy, you can definitely hear that I have spoken maybe a bit too much lately. Anyways, I'm having a blast, having a great time. We do have the glowing checkered star retreat coming up. That is happening in August. Now, folks, I did just get an email this morning from Stitchin Heaven letting me know that the kits are all but sold out, and they're making more, but after that they're not going to probably have the opportunity to keep running them in time. So please, if you're interested at all in having one of the glowing checkered star quilt kits, that's the quilt you see here in the background, and several of you did a great job. Well, no, you all did a great job. Several of you did use the actual quilt kits during our virtual sew along, and now this is the fun follow-up retreat. So yeah, if you want the green version with the black and white checkerboard, make sure you get yours on order right now. And like I said, there is a link in the description. Coming up last week in our videos on YouTube, we did the dog park block of the month number 1. This is a super awesome applique quilt from McKenna Ryan. And if you're not aware, folks, our block of the month program is very, very popular at Stitchin Heaven. So you need to sign up the months prior, and we had over 1,000 signups for this one. So I am doing the tutorials this year on Dog Park. I saw there were already a few requests for the kits with patterns. How do we catch up and all that? I'm not trying to be a stinker. I promise, folks, I'm really not trying to be a stinker. I'm trying to support those who've already purchased and bought in to the Dog Park. There's so many great things that you can learn in the video. It's all about great raw edge fusible applique and some of the tricks and techniques I use, how I'm using my ironing board and my cutting stations and those things. So please watch the video and keep sending in your feedback. We may have the opportunity to make more of those kits, and if we do, I promise to let you all know on that one. So anyways, yes, that was Dog Park month 1 block of the month. Speaking of other cool things, don't forget to check out the Stitchin Heaven quilting and cruising page. all kinds of awesome adventures at sea. And like I was saying, we just returned from an incredible sewcation in Shipshewana, Indiana. That was amazing. Super excited about that. And as I'm getting ready to dive into the grateful list, folks, I just want to remind you one more time, we do have the awesome Boneyard bundles now available. You can just search there in the keywords at stitchinheaven.com, Boneyard bundle. And we have the Rob's Rainbow and of course the Tiffany's Tropicals. Those are all batiks. And I've just been having an incredible good time making and playing with all of those. And of course, I'm using them, as you can see here, in several of the blocks on the Scrap Masters. And yes, the Scrap Masters quilt is coming along incredibly well. I'm super, super excited about it. We are up to 16 blocks constructed, and got some fun little stories to tell you about that. But you might have to watch a few more videos till we get there. At any rate, so as we're moving through, I want to get ready now and do our grateful list, folks. And in the grateful list, again, it's just another great reminder of things to be grateful for, and or kind of a good way to start your day, start your pace each and every day. And I do recommend that for all of us. And I had a wonderful conversation with a longtime friend this morning, and we were just talking about all of the things we were grateful for. So anyways, being grateful is a great way to start out our day or finish our day here on a Friday fun day. So let's do it, folks. Grateful list this week. Number 1, easy travel. Yes, I was on the road a bunch. Cars, buggies, buses, planes, lots of transfers, lots of luggage, and I had a great time, super easy. And one of my favorite things I was doing this week was working on the doodle here, and that doodle has become our new, of course, super cool Scrap Masters logo. I'm not sure it's official or not, but I am certainly having fun with that. And like I said, as we got ready for our Sewcation and Sewcation friends, my dear friend, the Quilting Marine, Mark, Daryl met me there, and we started hanging out and having a great old time. Now, Mark is a bit of a carefree quilter himself. My other friend is a bit more passionate about precision. That is Raya Saloma. Now, we're wearing our new Sewcation shirts that day because we were out on a travel. But the first night before everything started, we had a blast. We went to a Michael Jr. He's a comedian. He's a Christian clean comedian. And we went to his show at the theater next door at the Blue Gate, and there were folks that recognized Mark. And so anyways, Mark got to be part of a private trunk show. This gal here, and I don't know if I should share her name or not, so I won't. But anyway, she was making beautiful quilts, and she had them in the trunk of her car with some of her family members. So that was our first awesome experience. We weren't even on duty necessarily yet, and Mark was getting a private trunk show. And then, of course, I thought everybody there was just being lovely. I was a little concerned at first when I saw some of our larger friends in the lobby, but of course we had a good time throughout the rest of the week. Fire pit was a big hit out there, sitting around, just big, beautiful skies. A little more rain than I had expected while I was there. Last time I was there, big, beautiful sunsets. And here's a little video. One morning, Mark and I were out just getting ready to, I'm actually trying to film a bird, just slow as can be though. Just beautiful farm country all around. This is out behind the awesome hotel where we were staying. Then we went out on a tour, and this was just kind of a fun thing. I just kind of caught, we were all just sitting out on the porch in these rockers at one of the quilt gardens, and fun, like bees. They had a lot of bees. I want to say fruit stand, but it wasn't really a fruit stand. It was a home goods place. On the tour, we got to visit a lot of the quilt gardens, which was incredible. And of course, you know, the best part I think for Mark was the desserts. He is a big fan of pretzel sticks, and so he felt like he had hit the absolute jackpot a couple days ago at lunch when we had an entire platter of pretzel sticks. And yes, he got a couple to-go bags. I was pretty excited about the desserts. That's the Cookie Monster cheesecake. And this is one of my favorite clips from the entire week. And yes, I will make you all a video, but listen carefully. Hey, what do you got there, Cupcake? That's yours? You double fisting it? You double fisting those cupcakes?
Why do you feel really...
I just love that, man. He makes me crack up so bad. If you could hear, he says, why you got to be filming my cupcakes? Yes, he was double fisting it on the way back up to the room at the end of the night. He had stolen off a couple cupcakes and I got him. So anyways, we just had so much fun, and the fellowship and all the quilting that was going on was incredible. And all of a sudden I'm realizing I thought I had imported so many more photos and I don't know what happened here. So I guess I will owe you all some great pictures inside the video that I'm building about the Sewcations. And Sewcations, again, are just awesome land-based retreats where we get together, we provide the sewing machines and the entertainment, the projects, kits if you want them, and we get together and just have an incredibly good time, and felt so blessed to be there. Okay, so next on the grateful list, and actually kind of part of the fun, yes, I'm still tattooing, and this week's focus was, of course, quilt designs. And so here's a couple of fun ones. If you don't recognize the cupcake boy, there he is. Now he had the bulldog tattoo. That's Mark, Quilting Marine. He had the bulldog dog tattoo, first tattoo 30 years ago. And we wanted to freshen up, and we will start adding a full quilting sleeve. In the classroom, there were some cool quilting blocks. And so one of the participants may or may have not gotten that same tattoo on her ankle, and her husband, I'm just saying. And here's another fun quilt related design, a mountainscape. I thought this was a great idea and had an incredibly good time creating that little project. So as we move back into the final situation for the grateful list, here it is, folks. I've been talking about it for ages. Can you believe it? It is now finally graduation time, which actually means we're getting into wedding time as well, super family time. I've got about 2 weeks full of just family focused activity. It's going to be incredible. Don't worry, I'll still be making quilt videos for all of you out there, but my goodness, this is incredible. So yes, as of tomorrow, both of my kids, no longer kids, 20 and 22, there's my son and daughter, will both be graduated from college. Now, this is 4 years ago when Braden was graduating from high school with his then girlfriend, Catherine, who has become his fiance. And there's their wonderful photo of their wedding. And many of you know, because I can't stop talking about how excited I am, they are getting married on the 28th of June. And coming up very soon is a really cool quilt tutorial on how to make a memory quilt. And yes, believe it or not, we are making them a wedding quilt. And so it's really exciting. I want to talk to you all how to build some of the blocks and size things and get things colorized and put together. But I'm just super, super excited to just have, obviously, this exciting time in our lives. I think I said excited 1,000 times there. Sorry about that. I'm pretty wound up, and also, can believe it or not, I'm only on about 5 hours of sleep. My flight got in pretty late last night, and I still woke up so early and so excited to get in the studio and get unpacked and get tidied up and get my blocks back up on the wall as I'm playing with my scrap masters. And I'm going to pull this one. Oh, I keep kicking my stool here. I'm going to pull this one off the wall because if I remember correctly, this week it is now Scrap Masters time. So that is right, folks. This week we had block number 4, and the color was green, and we had 13 fabrics we could use, and really exciting. Had a great time. And here's the block. Finished up, super clean, really crisp, very well pieced, and I didn't have much to do with that. And I think actually, if I remember correctly, I didn't have much to do with the design work also. And my good friend Stephanie went ahead and put all of this together. I had just picked the fabrics when she got there and had started making the half square triangle. So yes, you can see that I had picked the fabrics, like I said, and then my friend Stephanie from Stephanie Stitches came by the retreat, and so I asked her if she wanted to make the block and started sewing them together. And there again, but of course, it's always better to see them live. So here's a few of the blocks that you all created this week on Scrap Masters. And if you're just hearing about Scrap Masters for the first time, it's a free sew along. It's a random quilt block generator where I'm going to roll and spin here in just a few. Well, I already rolled and spin because this part was recorded and I'm actually making the block in the background. But each week, oh, this one's really great too. Yeah, we have a couple of overachievers. But yes, each week we use our wheel and our die, and we spin and we roll and we generate a random quilt block assignment using our free pattern. And then so you know, here I am sewing them on videos now on the Friday Lives and encouraging all of you to do it. Now on our Sew Well Facebook group, this is where we're posting our photos. And every few weeks or so, I'll post a table that lists everything we've drawn, rolled, created so far, but I want everyone to feel comfortable to just join in wherever you feel. Again, I don't want you to feel like you're behind schedule at all. This is a palette cleanser. This is just a way for us to all sew and encourage each other. For me, this is something to do in between some of the sewing work. As a sewing professional, there are times where I'm on deadlines, and there are other times I just want to create something that I think is beautiful. And I'm really excited, as you can see on the design wall, 16 blocks, and they're coming together incredible. And I just think it's super fun. One of the things I'm enjoying the most about this right now is every week, due to the newest block that we create, we then need to go ahead and redesign the quilt on the wall. And if you'll notice, a couple of weeks ago, we started with a few of these half blocks. So I'm definitely going to build a few more of those in the near future. So maybe I can have like a diamond in the center or something. But I just think this is super cool, super exciting the way it's coming together. And therefore, let's see how I'm really doing on this week's challenge, this week's Scrap Master. So with all of that said, now we are back to you, Rob. Yeah, not too shabby. I've got my parts and pieces made up here. I am trimming half square triangles. So let me bring you into the overhead camera and slow down a bit. Due to the speed at which I'm trying to make these versus accuracy, I'm using today the slotted trimmer. Now, the slotted trimmer can be very accurate the way it works, but we had discussed a couple videos back that pressing open our seams prior to trimming should technically, and only by engineering standards, technically give us a most accurate seam allowance, because then I am not worrying about exactly where my slotted trimmer lands on the lines of my thread. It's supposed to be placed on the threads. There's been some debate about or thickness of thread and all of that. I've got just a few more to go, and then we'll bring the block over here and show you what it's going to look like as we begin stitching it all together. As you're all in the comments there having a good old time, I can see that's awesome. Glad to hear you're all out there. I'm glad to see that some of you have been getting your Boneyard bundles, because those are going pretty dang quick, that is for sure. Here, we'll bring it here now too, so you don't have to look at the top of my head in the overhead camera so much. Now, today, because of the limited amount of fabrics, I basically kind of grabbed a lot of combinations. So we're going to have a lot of units in here that are made the same. A lot of the blocks on the other, or a lot of the units in the other blocks were much more random. But as we get into these lower numbers, I think that's easiest. I'm still did a couple little switcheroos where I matched up a couple of my medium tones with different medium tones for the middle of the block. And you can see here that I built my center, and I chose the parts that will be our our parts that will be our big squares. So I can just kind of get a feel for that blue-green background and how I'm going to mix it with my pinks as I go through. And then this aqua, because that was also in one of the pink fabrics by Tula Pink herself. Oh, let my iron get cool. Thank you very much, Nancy, about your enthusiasm with me on the wedding. I'm really excited. And like I've been talking about for the last several weeks here on Fridays, I've been hustling and pushing to keep up with all of the workload so that I really can be focused on the family the next couple of weeks. Not that I won't be producing, not that I won't be editing and filming and a bunch of things like that, but I kind of saved the easy stuff for this week. And I want to do a bunch of machine quilting. I do need to machine quilt their wedding quilt, because we're going to have that on display at the wedding. But I just got my wide backs back in today. So, of course, I'm going to use my blue and green wide back on the back of their quilt, because, of course, I would want to do that. So I'll be loading the long arm probably this evening and getting started on that process. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just take a moment and start pressing out these blocks. I guess I'm going to press to the green on all of them. Will just be my answer. And if I remember correctly, I was going to build with some of these darker ones out from the center. Let's see, maybe we can do this so we can all see it a little bit better. And using these ones that have the lime or the aqua out towards the edges to form out the flying geese pieces. The flying geese's pieces. Like to know how many of you have actually kept up completely. I really enjoy all of you that sent in the photos. Of course, I recognize a lot of those same names over and over. And that's always fun to see as well. But I know there's more of you out there doing it. And also, it'd be fun to see how many of my new friends are watching this week. So if you're a new friend watching, comment below so that I can see if you're out there. That's really fun for me as well. And really enjoy. I'm pretty excited. I think our feed's been working pretty clean today. We are simulcasting to Facebook and to YouTube, which is always exciting. So I've got the comments going out there, and like to see who's all following along on both of those channels and feeds. Almost have all the prep work done so we can do our sewing work. Really would encourage all of you out there to consider signing up for a quilting event somewhere. Quilting retreats, which we have lots of those coming up at Stitchin Heaven on the retreats or events pages. It just was so much fun. The laughter was just contagious this last week. We were in tears so many times, and it was just silly stuff, silly comments or whatever it was. Like, we had so much fun just being us and being in our group, and the tour was really fun as well. I'm really not much of a tour guy. I probably shouldn't say that, but I don't usually like going on tours like that, being kind of captive audience. But our tour guide did a terrific job, and we went to some really cool places. We'd gone to an Amish farm. We went to like a country store. We went to the quilt gardens. We went to quilt shops. We went and had lunch at the Amish farm. And that was really neat because they had a lot of the quilts, the handmade quilts of the solids. That's an Amish tradition, using the solid fabrics. And that was really neat to see as well. Okay, so this blue is going to translate as my green. Let's go ahead and put it together in the overhead camera so we can all enjoy it together. Let's see how this goes. So again, there's my 4-patch for the middle, and I decided I was going to have these green ones. Oh, this will be fun. I'm going to make the arrows point out if I remember. We'll see if it really works. Okay. And then now building that there. Okay. So then from the center, I need to have the pink as my arrow. I think that's what I need to see it as. Like I said, these are going to be pretty uniform looking this week because of the need for, because I just had a few pieces, when you had a limited amount of squares. But I still think it's going to look pretty attractive. I love watching it come together in the overhead camera. It really allows me to see my colors as I play through. Nice. Okay, and I think I'll end up, okay, so that goes that way. And then on these ones, I'm going to keep my green points pointing in. So I think I'll put one of those there, one of these here. And then as I go for the rest of these, I'll just kind of checkerboard them. Hopefully I can checkerboard or have opposite fabrics touching. Oops, that's not going to be right. Oh, that is right. Okay. Can you all hear my brain thinking? I hope you can. I understand that a lot of you enjoy this process. It's sometimes painful for me. Sorry. Not trying to complain. Just trying to see it all come together. Okay, that's going to be a fun block. It actually reads like polka dots in a way in some of these spots. Okay, now I see something developing that I don't really want to happen. So I wonder what I can do about that. Maybe I'll pull a... I don't know if I can... If I did this swap here, I could move this one up here to keep my rhythm of the different blocks working. Okay, we got it. We got it. Okay, so there's my block. I'm looking good. I'm excited about that. I'm going to go ahead and start sewing these pieces together for a little while just to have some fun. I'm going to lock in my seam guide now and start rocking and rolling on these. And one of the tricks now, because most all of them are already stitched, and it's going to be a big row system as I really am. I'm just going to come in here now and sew them in rows. So my trick is I'm going to start with these two pieces and I'm going to add on as I go, facing the machine as my seam. So this is going to be pretty quick today the way I'm doing it. Probably rushing a bit because of the live audience, but that's okay because it's fun for me. And yep, okay, I just want to make sure as I start to go in. Hopefully some of you started organizing your fabrics while I'm doing mine. And this will also give me still the opportunity to nest my seams, pressing in one direction in one row and pressing in the other direction in the other row. Grabbing my second row. I'm going to do all the ironing at the end. Thank you, Jennifer, for saying that my square is looking great. It's so fun to see it come together, both live and watching it in the camera. It's a kind of a neat trick for me, actually. A few times this last few weeks, I've been second guessing what it looked like. And then when I see it on camera from a little bit more distance, I'm like, wow, that's stunning. I'm sorry if I should, that doesn't mean to be bragging, but I really am having fun with this. Now, because I got a little carried away, I did sew this 4-patch together, so I probably better build this as a 4-patch as well. So I'm just going to go right now, pink corner, pink corner. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a moment right now and press those. Oh no! Well, I have been having some problems with my iPad power, and it looks like I'm about ready to run out of juice, folks. I don't want to miss the opportunity to say goodbye and tell you all how much I appreciate you. It looks like I've got to get off camera pretty quick, even though this thing was sitting on a charger. It has lost juice. So I'm so sorry that you won't get to see the block. I promise to post photos, and I'm asked all you to post your photos in the So Well group as well over on Facebook. And I'm going to encourage you all to keep sewing. Thank you for watching me create my blog today. Thank you for being part of the Stitchin Heaven quilting community. And thanks for being part of the Scrap Masters. Make sure you pick up your Boneyard bundles. Check out stitchinheaven.com for all kinds of other great opportunities. And we will see you all very soon before we run out of power. Thanks for being here, folks.